recently I just picked up these adorable little set of 3 bread covers. They go over dough so well and they proof beautifully underneath. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to put it on the back of my stove and we'll just see this guy in a little bit. I'm going to start out with a little bit of lard. While the veggies are just cooking away over there, and yes, it does smell mighty fine in here, I'm going to start on my sausage balls. And you know all I do? I take a package of ground sausage just like this, and I think mine is ground mild. But hot would be really good in here too, or even medium. It's up to you. And I'm just going to make little tiny meatballs out of each one of them. A little salt and pepper, maybe some garlic powder. And then I'm going to toss them into my veggie mixture over there and cook them up a little bit. They're just starting to get nice and soft and very, very fragrant. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get a roux going, or a little bit of a thickener in here. And I'm going to put in, kind of like what I always do, about 2 tablespoons, maybe a tad bit more today, since this is an extra special meal. And this is for 2. I'm trying to make this meal for 2. I know a lot of you have asked for meals for 2, so here you go. So the package of sausage that I had, I think it was like a 1-pound ground sausage. I did just use half of that sausage. The other half, I'm going to make a delicious pizza one night. That'll be another party for Lou. He'll love that. He loves pizza. All right, so let's just let that go for a minute. All right, and then I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons or so of flour. And we're going to give that a nice stir, and it will just get nice and thick. Actually, you're gonna start to smell like a pie crust in the oven, kind of that pie crust smell. That's the smell you want. That's how you know that your flour has cooked. You don't want your flour to be raw. So give it time here to do the process. Let it bubble up. Let it get nice and thick. And this is creating that beautiful roux. So when we add the stock in just a second, oh, it's going to get nice and thick. All right, let's add a little seasoning. I'll put a little salt in here. A little bit of pepper. You control your salt and you control your pepper. That's why it's so much fun. One of the reasons why it is so much fun to cook at home. A little bit of onion powder. I know we put onion in there, but I like the flavor of onion powder. And some garlic powder too is going to go in. I don't have too much of that left. I hardly have any left. I'll put the rest in there. And then I'll make sure I have it on my grocery list. All the times I go to the store, and one of the most important things there, garlic powder. Okay. All right, now we're going to put in some chicken broth. Probably about a cup, 2 cups maybe, right now for starters. All right. And we're just going to stir it around. And little by little, like magic, this is going to turn into a beautiful, beautiful, rich, thick, brothy soup. Oh, it's going to be just delicious and perfect for us to drop those sweet little meatballs in. Aren't they cute? They're so tiny. Oh, look how perfect it is already. That tells me it can take a little bit more stock. Yeah, because this is going to cook for just a little bit. It's not a soup, so it's not going to be cooking on the back of the stove all day. You just want to make sure that the meat is cooked all the way through. All right. That looks yummy. Come in every once in a while and just give it a check, just to make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom. You should be down on like a low to medium right now. You don't want your sausage balls, you want them to cook of course, but you don't want them to stick to the bottom because they'll just all fall apart, and you want them to stay in meatball form. All right, this is looking wonderful, just wonderful. Do this every few minutes. All right, and we'll just continue to let them steam. Just added some cranberries and some orange zest and some cinnamon to my bread dough here, and I'm just mixing it up in there really well. The cranberries, sometimes they're a little hard in the bag, but by the time this sits, sourdough has to sit a very long time, for hours. These cherries, whether you use cherries or cranberries or blueberries, whatever dried fruit you use, it plumps up so beautifully in this dough. It's quite a beautiful thing, I have to say. This is our favorite sourdough loaf, the orange cranberry cinnamon. All right, we'll put that bonnet back on, and we'll give it a few stretch and folds in just a little bit. All right, that water is ready to go. I'm gonna put in half a box. Just fine. Just give it a quick stir so it doesn't stick. I did put a little salt in the water, but you don't have to do that. You can put a little oil in the water if you want. I prefer the salt. This is the only time that you can flavor your pasta is right now while it's cooking in the water. All right, we are just about down to the finish line here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my meatballs out because I want to finish up my sauce. And I'm going to be stirring around and doing all that stuff in here. And I don't want to disturb these meatballs. I want them to stay whole, just like this. There's 12 of them in here, 6 for each of us, and they're tiny, you can see. So I'll just place them to the side over here. And now I can get going here with this. So first I'm going to add just a little bit more, just like a 1/4 cup more stock, because these are nice and thick. Let's get that going around. I'm going to add some incredibly yummy whipping cream. That is going in, and that is going to take this up a notch. You will not believe. And then on top of that, yes, we're going to add some tomato soup. Remember, we added tomato soup in something not too terribly long ago, just a little bit. It's just a flavor. You don't want like even a half a cup in here. Just enough. And also, it's such a pretty color. It adds such a beautiful color to any dish. All right, let's just mix this up really nicely right now. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. That is beautiful. All right, I did find some garlic powder. Lucky me, huh? It was tucked away in the back. And I am going to add a little bit more onion powder in here. Garlic powder, excuse me. We've got fresh onion in there and onion powder, so we're good. But a little garlic powder, yeah, that'll go a long way. Oh yeah, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. That's about 1/8 of a cup. You don't want it, you don't want to ruin it with too much, because you can go overboard with Parm cheese. But about 1/8 of a cup I think is perfect, because you may want to serve it at the table as well. This is such a very simple dessert to make. When I was a little girl, my mom and I would sit around our tiny kitchen table and make this sugar cookie dough that was actually handed down from my grandmother. It's as simple as can be, but oh, the joy receiving one of these cookies brings. I still use the same heart-shaped cookie cutter we used way back then. My mom and I would have such great conversation as we cut out and frosted and decorated and wrapped packages for friends and neighbors. Each year I would take this very same tin, the one I'm using today to store the cookies, into my classroom to share with all the students and the teachers. I think a few even made their way up to the principal's office. We did this every single Valentine's Day all the way through high school. Oh, I remember those high school years so fondly. Everyone would be looking for the girl with the tin that held those beautiful pink frosted heart-shaped Valentine's cookies. Everyone would get one. People would come from all over. Kids I didn't even know. Yeah, we had a great big high school, and all kinds of kids, they got their hands in that tin. I'll tell you what, I never said no to anybody. Everyone got one, even the teachers. And when I made my way to the school bus on the way home, there wasn't even one cookie left, not even a crumb. Those cookies, I hope that they're remembered by somebody, somewhere today. I have no memory of a Valentine's Day without these simply delicious, rich, buttery cookies with a cool, sweet, colored frosting and sprinkles. I hope you'll enjoy them with your family, start new traditions, and let it begin with a cookie.